You've got 90 minutes, maybe less, because in the average American city, that's how long it takes after a total blackout for the first door to get kicked in. Not by gangs, not by looters, by neighbors. According to a 2024 DHS contingency report, 81% of initial break-ins during grid failure are committed within a 3-block radius of the victim's home. And it starts faster than anyone expects. The first recorded theft during the Texas freeze hit just 47 minutes after the power died. No warning, no buildup, just silence, then violence. And if your house sends even one signal, light, sound, smell, heat, movement, they'll know you're not just alive. You're prepared. And in a desperate world, that makes you dangerous. These are the 12 mistakes that turn your home into a target. Miss even one, and your stockpile, your safety, your family, gone. Hide these now, or you won't make it through the week. 12. You still smell like soap, and that means you've got running water. You ever wonder what the clean smell of fresh out the shower tells the world during a blackout? It tells them you've got water, not just a little, not bottled, not rationed, flowing. See, in a dead grid situation, scent becomes surveillance. No traffic, no HVAC hum, no trash trucks to cover your tracks. Your neighborhood is now a soundproof, scent-sensitive vacuum. And you just walked outside smelling like coconut shea body wash and citrus shampoo. That might as well be a siren. In post-collapse Haiti, 2023, relief groups noticed something eerie. Locals identified the well-supplied homes not by sight but by smell trails. Even in tight quarters, one sniff of deodorant or shampoo was enough to mark someone as resource-rich. One UN report noted that homes identified via aromatic profiling were 4.6 times more likely to be looted within 72 hours. And the big one, scent lingers. Fabric conditioner on your hoodie, still traceable 36 hours later if you wear it twice. In urban silence, it floats. It tells people who's clean. And clean means comfort. Comfort means supply chain. Supply chain means you're next. You want to keep clean? Fine. But do it like you're being hunted. Step 1. Ditch perfume soaps. Switch to unscented, antibacterial, greywater-friendly options. Dr. Bronner's unscented is gold. Step 2. Wash clothes with minimal detergent. Add vinegar to break down fragrance residue. Step 3. Air dry indoors. Wet clothes outside broadcast both scent and proof of infrastructure. Step 4. Sponge bath method. 1 quart max. No drains. Contain, clean, dispose quietly. And step 5. Rotate outerwear. Let your scent mask settle. Rewear dirty coats over clean bodies to project the illusion of struggle. Because here's the kicker. Smelling good during a blackout isn't just a luxury. It's a declaration of advantage. A confession that you've got hygiene when others are wallowing in sweat and grime. And no, one in crisis forgives that. They envy it. They stalk it. They take it. So unless you want to get dragged out by your lavender-scented hoodie, start stinking up your perimeter. On purpose. 11. You're still cooking. Real meals, and the smell will map you like GPS. You can lock your doors. You can cover your windows. But if you're sautéing onions and searing meat 3 days into a blackout, you're not hiding. You're advertising. Listen closely. Food scent is the strongest survival magnet on Earth, and it doesn't care about walls. In a silent suburb with no HVAC noise or passing cars, the aroma of cooking spreads like radio waves. And your neighbors, they haven't eaten hot food in days. They're starving. They're bitter. And they've got time to follow their nose. During the 2023 grid collapse in Lebanon, NGOs recorded a chilling pattern. Entire apartment complexes would track the direction of cooking smells and send delegations to investigate, sometimes asking, sometimes demanding, sometimes not even knocking. You're not just cooking, you're triggering instinct. The olfactory system bypasses logic. It bypasses empathy. It goes straight to need. And in collapse, need is violence with direction. You need calories, fine. But stop the signature. First, don't fry. Bake or boil. Steam over smoke. Frying emits fatty vapors that cling to surfaces and travel fast. Second, cook during high wind or rain. Let nature scrub the air. Third, use enclosed cookers, solar ovens, hay boxes, pressure cookers. Less aroma, faster cook times, better fuel usage. Fourth, eat cold. Harsh truth, but it's safer. Rotate between hot and cold meals to reduce your scent profile. Fifth, never cook when neighbors are outside. Listen before lighting anything. If kids are yelling 2 yards over, wait. You're not just cooking for yourself. You're creating envy. And envy during collapse is terminal. And sixth, train your family. Kids especially. No exclamations, no, smells good. No bragging. Because that one shouted sentence out the window could turn your block into a pack of hyenas. So cook like you're behind enemy lines. No scent, no sound, no celebration. Because in a blackout, a hot meal is a luxury, but a hot smell, that's your death certificate. 10. Your car still starts, and that engine roar is the sound of opportunity. Let me hit you with a gut check. In a city where everything's dead, the sound of an engine is a declaration of mobility. And when mobility vanishes, the person who still has it becomes everyone's solution. If your vehicle still runs, you've just made yourself the new Amazon, the last Uber, the final supply chain. But instead of getting paid, you're getting followed. Here's the data. In 2024 FEMA response drills, analysts observed that neighborhoods with audible vehicles, even just one, were 7.4 times more likely to report organized confrontations, not petty theft, planned targeting. Why? Because your car says everything. You have fuel. You have escape. You have cargo capacity. You can get medicine. You can leave and return. That changes your value, from neighbor to asset, from friend to threat. And the worst part? Engines don't lie. A cold start? That's a neighborhood alarm. Even hybrids make noise on ignition. And if someone hears your truck every morning at 9:10 a.m., congratulations. You've just become the grid-down FedEx. And guess what? Some of those customers aren't placing orders. They're planning interceptions. So fix it now. First, don't start unless you must. Second, use terrain. Park in enclosed garages or behind terrain barriers. Third, use handcarts or bikes for close errands. Blend in with the walking crowd. Fourth, mask the sound. Run the engine only during distractions. Storms, sirens, barking dogs, chaos. Fifth, ditch vanity. Cover your car in dust. Crack a taillight. Make it look dead. And sixth, store fuel where no one sees it. 5-gallon jugs in plain sight. Yeah, that's a mobile gold vault. Bury your backup tanks. Rotate siphoned gas, never full cans. And never carry gear visibly in the vehicle. Because in a collapsed city, a running car is a spaceship. But spaceships crash hard when everyone wants a ride, and only one seat's available. 9. Your chimney is puffing smoke, but nobody's seen you chop wood in days. Let's get tactical. Smoke in the sky isn't just heat, it's math. And in a blackout, everyone's doing the same calculation. If they're still burning, where's the wood coming from? And if you've been inside all day, haven't scavenged, and your fire still burns bright every night, they know you've got a stash. And in grid-down survival, a firewood stash is equivalent to a weapons cache. Here's the problem. Most preppers think smoke signals survival, but the truth, it signals supply imbalance. In the 2022 Estonian energy crisis, when rural villages went dark, locals began identifying who was hoarding fuel just by observing chimney activity. Thermal watchers would log when fires began, how long they lasted, how thick the smoke was. They could triangulate burn rate and estimate reserves. Let that sink in. Your fix? First, reduce the smoke signature. Dry wood burns cleaner. So does softwood. Use mixed load burns to confuse observers. Wet logs make plumes. Seasoned wood makes wisps. Alternate. Second, run fires at odd hours. Everyone expects dinner fires. Try 2 a.m., 4 p.m., any time off pattern. Third, vent under dense trees, not open sky. Chimney caps help break up column visibility. Fourth, burn trash occasionally. The smoke stinks, but it throws off the scent trail and muddies your burn pattern. And finally, make it look desperate. Stack your wood like you just scrounged it. Make piles uneven. Use rotten logs on the edges. Hide your real fuel behind garbage, inside false walls, under broken furniture. Because the moment someone sees consistent smoke without scavenging effort, they'll know you've got reserves. And in a collapse, reserves don't mean survival. They means rated by sunrise. 8. You keep flushing your wastewater, and that means you're not thirsty yet. If you're still pouring gray water down the drain in a blackout, you're not just making noise. You're making statements. That slosh, that splash, that casual bucket tip down the driveway. It's a message. It says, we're not dehydrated yet. And that makes you pray. Want the truth? In most blackouts, dehydration strikes faster than starvation. In the 2023 multi-state rolling blackout, hospitalizations due to dehydration outpaced food poisoning 2-to-1. And the first thing that vanishes from desperate minds is waste management. If you're still discarding water, people notice. If your lawn's damp while theirs is dust, you've just declared abundance. And the kicker? It's visible. Gray water is tinted, smells faintly of soap or food. It leaves residue. If someone walks by and sees a damp stain near your side yard every morning at 10, they'll start sniffing. They'll start watching. And then, they'll start digging. Solutions. First, capture everything. Dishwater, hand wash, veggie rinse. Save it. 2. Divert it. Build a soak pit far from the house. 3. Use stealth dumps. After dark, under mulch, into compost pits. 4. Dehydrate visibly. Place dry clothes and cracked lips in your social image. Look parched, even if you're not. And 5. Reuse creatively. Clean with it. Flush with it. Grow hidden food with it. Don't discard what others would kill for, because every ounce of water you waste in the open is an ounce someone else now wants to steal. 7. You've got noise discipline, but your pets don't. You can train your kids. You can unplug devices. You can line the walls with foam. But the one thing most people forget to silence in a blackout? The dog. And when hunger kicks in, nerves fray, and desperation spirals, your barking mutt becomes everyone's least favorite soundtrack. More than that, it's a location beacon. Let's break it down. A barking dog can be heard up to 200 feet in dead silence. That's nearly a quarter mile. One bark every 5 minutes creates a pattern. In rural Nigeria's 2021 blackouts, militias triangulated survivors using barking dogs as their guideposts. And in suburban America, it's worse. Because barking signals a guarded home, which means a valuable home. Solutions. First, crate train now. Make the dog feel safe in silence. 2. Invest in calming sprays, chews, or temporary muzzles. 3. Rotate decoys. Let a recording of dog barks play near an abandoned house to draw interest away. 4. Desensitize with ambient loops. Rain, static, heartbeat audio. Block out external stimuli that trigger barking. And 5. If it's unmanageable, evacuate the pet early. Painful, yes. But if their noise marks your location daily, you've just given up all tactical silence. Because in blackout warfare, your dog's bark isn't protection. It's a flare. 6. You're still using battery devices, and that means you've got stockpiles. You might think a little battery-powered fan, an electric toothbrush, or a blinking digital watch won't draw attention. But in a blackout, every beep, every flash, every hum becomes a code. And here's what no one's telling you. A battery use equals preparedness, and preparedness paints a target right on your forehead. Let's talk game theory. In a grid-down city, lithium is currency. AA's, they're ammo. A blinking clock says you've got alkalines. A working radio says you've got backups. A charged flashlight 3 days in? That screams supply chain. In the 2024 Rio collapse, tactical units from Médecins Sans Frontières noted looters would follow kids seen holding toys with lit LEDs or sound effects. One mother was followed for hours after her toddler's fake phone beeped in an alley. Her house was cleaned out by morning. Why? Because people aren't dumb. They know you didn't find those batteries in a storm drain. You stored them, which means you're sitting on a vault of energy. And when your neighbor's flashlight is dead and yours still slices the dark like a saber, you don't look lucky. You look loaded. Mitigate fast. First, black out everything. Tape over LEDs, disable beeps, kill clocks. Second, rotate usage. Never use the same device 2 nights in a row. Third, use crank-powered or solar when possible. But even that has limits. A hand crank radio makes noise. A solar panel reflects light. You're still sending a signal. Fourth, store batteries decentralized. Never keep all cells in one box or drawer. If they find your cache, they'll strip you to drywall. Fifth, fake your energy status. Use dead devices as props. Let them see you shaking a flashlight that doesn't work. And finally, never let a child carry an active toy. Ever. Because every flicker, every hum, every flash from a battery device during blackout conditions isn't innocent, it's evidence, and that evidence says you were ready. And the person who's ready becomes the warehouse. 5. You're the only house where kids still laugh. There's a sound that cuts deeper than glass when the world collapses, the sound of joy. And if your kids are still laughing, singing, watching cartoons, or playing with toys when everyone else's children are crying, shivering, or going silent, you're not inspiring hope. You're provoking envy. That joy becomes a target lock. In the 2023 Dominican blackout rationing trials, researchers embedded in urban zones tracked looting events tied not to food or light, but to sound. More than 30% of hits were traced back to homes where children's voices were heard during the first week. And it wasn't sadness that triggered action. It was laughter, the sound of someone else's child playing a game while yours is sucking on an ice cube. That flips a switch in the brain that turns neighbor into invader. And here's what people don't realize. Kids don't just make noise, they tell stories. They spill inventory. We have tons of cereal. Daddy said we're the only ones with power. Mom made spaghetti again. These aren't cute. These are threats to your perimeter. So what do? First, brief your kids. Gently but firmly. Tell them we're pretending to be poor now, that no one can know what we have. Second, cut noise leaks. Blankets under doors. Foam in window cracks. Rugs over hardwood. Third, teach silence games. Whisper tag. Shadow play. Sign language. It's training, not punishment. Fourth, rotate toys. Don't let loud or battery-powered ones out. Fifth, simulate stress. Let kids help carry empty boxes. Create the illusion of movement, not comfort. And sixth, if another family sees or hears your kids happy, make it look like a fluke. Say they don't understand what's happening. Apologize. Say you're out too. Because in collapse, your child's joy isn't proof of good parenting. It's proof you still have something to lose, and someone out there just decided to take it. 4. Your curtains move, even when no one else has heat or power. Here's something you've probably never thought about. Curtain movement. Harmless, right? Just a little breeze. But in a blackout, when every home is sealed tight, windows are dark, and air is dead still, moving curtains scream activity. They whisper someone's inside, and they're fine. In the 2022 Balkans freeze-out, cold weather surveillance teams were able to identify 85% of inhabited structures not by light or sound, but by minor signs of air movement. Slight curtain shifts, condensation cycles, interior airflow changes, and the most consistent, fabric fluttering behind sealed glass. You think no one's looking? You're wrong. They're watching from across the street with binoculars, and all the time in the world. And movement isn't the only tell. Bright-colored drapes catch ambient light. Transparent ones leak silhouettes. Gaps at the bottom show feet. Wrinkles change as people brush by. It's an optical lie detector. You didn't open the door. You didn't light a lamp. But your curtain just moved? You just told the block you're home. So fix this with discipline. First, blackout liners. Not just thick fabric. Black poly blackout hung double, taped at the seams. Second, pin the bottom. Use clips, Velcro, magnets. Let nothing move unless you move it. Third, mask from the outside. Apply cling film, foil, or dark cellophane on the outer glass. Fourth, never use interior fans or vents facing windows. Cross ventilation moves fabric. So do kids. So does heat. And fifth, set a decoy. One cracked curtain in an empty room. Messy. Dim. A broken lamp in the window. Let anyone watching think that's the occupied room. Let them waste their time. Because in a blackout, silence is protection. Stillness is armor. And fluttering curtains, that's a breach. That's a red flag to wolves. And wolves don't knock. 3. You're still charging devices, and that means you've got a hidden power source. Let's get something straight. In a blackout, nobody's phone should still be at 80%. Nobody's tablet should still play YouTube videos. And if you've got a laptop that boots up on day 4, you're not slick. You're suspicious. Because here's the ugly truth. Everyone else's tech is dead. Stone cold. So when you casually swipe on a touchscreen, when your kid watches a downloaded movie, when you take a call on 15% battery and say, "Yeah, I'll recharge it in a bit," you just told the world you've got power somewhere. And let me tell you, power in a blackout is pure gold. It doesn't matter if it's solar, hand crank, or a buried inverter in your garage. If your tech still functions, you've got something they don't. And nothing invites envy faster. The 2024 Sudan energy crisis revealed this exact pattern. UN security advisors reported targeted attacks on homes with active phones, flashlights, and e-readers. These weren't opportunistic looters. These were intel-based strikes, driven by observed patterns. A light on the face through a window. The blue glow of a screen at 3 a.m. One report showed attackers coordinating based on which house still had bars, not for phone signal, for battery bars. So here's how you hide your energy advantage. First, screen shields. Use dimmers or privacy filters to kill exterior bleed. Second, face the glow away from windows. Always. Third, charge only in deep interior rooms. No reflections, no shadows. Fourth, rotate devices. Don't charge the same thing daily. That creates pattern. Fifth, cover charging stations. Soundproof and insulate solar banks, inverters, anything that hums. Sixth, and this is key, don't act like you've got juice. Don't be calm. Don't be informed. Don't say, let me check something. That phrase alone tells people your gear works. And the moment they believe you've got a silent generator, solar rig, or buried battery bank, they'll dig for it, or bleed you until they find it. In collapse, power is control. And the one with control dies first if they're not invisible. 2. You're still feeding the dog, and that means you've got food reserves. Here's a brutal one, and I'm going to say it without flinching. In a blackout, your pet is a broadcast system, not because it barks, not because it draws attention directly, but because when people notice that your dog hasn't lost weight, when it's still walking, tail up, coat shiny, they do the math. And that math is terrifying, because if your dog is still eating, you must have food, and not just scraps, not just rice and beans, enough to keep another mouth alive, daily, while they're rationing crackers to their own kids. In Bosnia, during the 90s siege of Sarajevo, UN food monitors noted that one of the primary triggers for home invasions was the presence of fed animals. Pigeons, dogs, goats. If they looked healthy, someone followed them home. A 2023 FEMA debrief on long-term grid failure simulations revealed something even darker. Agents playing as hunters were told to mark houses with healthy animals for later action. You weren't feeding a pet. You were revealing logistics. Here's how to fix it. First, hide feeding times. No clinking bowls. No front yard snacks. Feed at night behind closed doors. 2. Reduce caloric intake. Your animal will survive on less. It's cruel. It's cold. It's necessary. 3. Mask the signs of wellness. Dirty the coat. Use mud. Smear fur with ash or cooking residue. It looks gross, but it screams struggle. 4th, train silence. Don't let the animal whine by the door. That's an audible alert that dinner still happens here. 5th, no walks. You think it's harmless? It's not. A dog on a leash in week 2 of collapse is like walking a sign that says, I have calories to spare. And 6th, have a plan if things get worse. I won't spell it out. But you know what I mean. And if you can't do that, have a hideaway drop-off point. Somewhere you can keep the animal safe and out of sight. Because in the end, a barking dog is a problem. But a well-fed one, that's a death sentence. 1. You didn't disappear on day 1. So now they know you exist. Here's the final fatal truth. The one mistake you can't undo. The slip that seals your fate before the blackout even hits full stride. You were seen. On day 1. When the lights blinked out and the neighborhood went still, you reacted. You moved too confidently. You looked too composed. Maybe you brought in a cache from your trunk. Maybe your kids were quiet instead of scared. Maybe you checked your watch like you'd planned for this exact moment, and someone saw it. One window watcher, one nosy neighbor, one unlucky coincidence. That's all it takes. Because now, in the mental survival map of every desperate person on your block, you're marked. They don't need your name. They don't need proof. They just remember, that guy didn't panic. And in collapse psychology, calm equals capable. Capable equals supplied. Supplied equals next target. After Hurricane Ian, a University of Miami case study found that over 90% of suburban home break-ins during the second week of blackout had early visibility triggers. The victims were people who were seen doing something calm in the first 48 hours. One man was robbed after being spotted grilling a hot dog on day 2. He wasn't showing off. He was just outside. But that single action labeled him as safe. And safe means you've got something to take. Here's how you fix it if you still can. First, disappear now. Black out your windows, shut down all outdoor activity, stop talking. Second, muddy your legend. Start looking stressed. Argue loudly. Drag out empty boxes and trash them in public. Cry on the porch if you have to. Third, redirect suspicion. Spread a rumor that you ran out of food, that you called a cousin to pick you up. Fourth, physically alter your exterior. Board a window. Let the mailbox overflow. Make your house look abandoned. And fifth, if someone asks for help, give a little, once, just enough to seem tapped out. One can, one bottle, one word. Sorry, that was our last one. Because in collapse, invisibility isn't cowardice. It's the only defense that actually works. So if you're still thinking this is just about flashlights or coffee smells, you haven't been paying attention. This isn't survival. This is evasion, deception, disappearance. Because the moment the grid goes down, you're not living among neighbors anymore. You're surrounded by watchers, desperate eyes tracking light, scent, sound, movement. You make one mistake. You get remembered. And if you get remembered, you get revisited. Don't be the house they mark. Don't be the one they whisper about when the streets go dark. You want to survive the blackout? Then vanish. No signals, no signs, no sympathy. Because in the end, survival isn't about what you have. It's about what no one thinks you do.